Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Welcome to the Bhakti Rahasyam episode number 25. After focusing on Krishna for the last three Rahasyams, Thirukkolur Penpillai now turns her attention to an incident from our epic Ramayana. So that is the greatness of this particular literature, where Thirukkolur Penpillai is frequently changing topics so that it doesn't become monotony to the listeners. So she is constantly jumping from, say, Mahabharata to Ramayana to Krishna Leela, or to the life of great saints, or borrowing some stories from the Puranas and explaining us what is the hidden meaning for us in our own lives from these great scriptures and literature. So in our today's Rahasyam, Thirukkolur Penpillai is focusing on an event from Ramayana, and the beauty of this Rahasyam is she is not comparing herself to any particular person or to any devotee, but she is comparing herself to a little animal called squirrel. So her statement or her Rahasyam to Swami Ramanuja is, did I do little service like the squirrels? Now what did the squirrels do? There is an interesting incident which happens in the Ramayana. Now this is the phase when Hanuman has flown to the Lanka, he has met Sita, he is confident that she is safe and secured there. Hence he flies back to Rama and gives him that assurance that Sita Mata is safe in this place called Ashokvan in the Lanka. So now Sri Rama has to start his project of taking the army from the southern tip of India to the Lanka to get Sita Mata back safely. Now he is thinking of a lot of options how to mobilize his army. And again at this point, Ravana's brother Vibhishan, he had joined forces with Lord Rama. Now he gives an idea to Rama, saying that if Rama were to approach the Samudra Rajan or the Lord of Oceans, so he may give Rama some idea on how to cross the points from India to the Lanka. So Rama, though he has no need to go and surrender or pray before the Lord of Oceans, yet he is in the human form. He shows us normal people that before accomplishing any task, it is necessary to invoke the blessings of the Lord. So that's how, as instructed by Vibhishana, Rama goes. He prays to the Lord of Oceans, Samudra Rajan, that he should get some kind of a way to move between places. Now Samudra Rajan, at a point he feels that, oh, it's Ram himself who has come before me. So there is some pride, some arrogance, and he doesn't respond to the prayers of Rama. That was foolish on his part. That's when Rama feels that enough is enough. Now he takes his string of arrows and says that he will just pull all those arrows into the ocean with an intent of drying it up. Now Rama can do anything. Now fearing his might, Samudra Rajan comes out, he begs for forgiveness to Rama and tells him that he can construct a bridge between the southern tip of India to the Lanka with the help of boulders and stones. So that kickstarts the project of Ram Setu construction, where Rama, with the help of some monkeys, built a bridge between India and the Lanka. So it so happens that Rama is now working with his team of monkeys for this construction. So those monkeys, they bring heavy boulders, hills, stones. They just lift it and they are putting it across the ocean bed. So that way they intend to create a pathway which can be used by Rama and his army to walk across. Now Rama is sitting and watching the great teamwork which the monkeys are doing. He feels as a project leader, he also needs to contribute. So he just picks up a small stone and throws it into the ocean. Now to his surprise, the stone starts sinking inside the ocean. He starts thinking, these monkeys are putting all these boulders, hills and all, yet they are not sinking, but a small stone which I placed, it sunk. He's a bit embarrassed. He looks here and there to see nobody watched his act. But there is someone who did witness this act of the Lord. He comes before Ram and says, Jai Shri Ram. That's none other than Hanuman, the greatest devotee of Lord Rama. So he says, Oh Lord, I watched every act of yours, right from the time you were thinking of doing something for this project. Then into the moment when you picked up the stone, when you threw it in the ocean, when it sunk, and when you felt embarrassed, I witnessed every moment of yours. Now Rama has no option but to admit that the stone indeed sunk, and he asks Hanuman, do you know some reason why this happened? You and your team of monkeys are going on putting this, and somehow I failed in this. So why did this happen? To that Hanuman explains a very interesting reason. He says, Oh Lord, whenever we are going ahead and placing a hill or a boulder, we are constantly chanting the name Ram. So it is our staunch belief, it is our faith that the name of Lord Rama would protect these boulders from sinking in, and that's how we are creating a path. So, oh Lord, did you ever chant the name of Rama while placing the stone in the ocean? So Hanuman asking Ram himself if Ram chanted the name Ram before placing or throwing the stone in the ocean. Rama is embarrassed. He said no. So Hanuman says that is the reason why the stone sunk rather than floating. Now this explanation given by Hanuman has a direct impact on our day-to-day lives as well. When we are fighting the life's battles, when we are struggling with the problems, with the Lord's name in our mind, in our heart and in our tongue, the Lord's name itself will protect us from all these struggles. It will give us that strength to face those struggles. But if it is not the case, then the problems and the struggles start looking bigger, start appearing bigger, and they play a havoc with our mind and heart. So it is always advised that the Lord's names should be continuously chanted while carrying out our day-to-day duties. This is equally said by Lord Shri Krishna in the Gita, that whatever battlefield you are in, always remember me and I'll help you to overcome those struggles. So that's a parallel which is explained by Hanuman as well. Now when this conversation was happening and the monkeys were carrying out their duties, there was another team which was having an all important meeting. That was a team of little squirrels. So they appeared in groups, they appeared to be meeting over something, and they were continuously running towards the ocean and then coming back, doing something on the land, again rushing towards the ocean. Now this created some disturbance for the monkeys, because these squirrels, being little or smaller in size, they were just running across the feet of the various monkeys. So the monkeys were disturbed that they could easily crush those squirrels. Hence they started getting irritated, and they called the leader of the squirrel and asked, "Hey, what are you all doing? You are disturbing us in our duty of building the Ram Setu bridge." So the squirrels, the leader of the squirrel in this case, he shot back saying that, "Well, if you are doing your duty, even we are doing our duty. You think that you are building the bridge, even we are playing our part, we are doing our contribution in building that bridge." Now the monkeys, being strong, they started ridiculing the squirrels. So by the time this conversation happened, all the other squirrels also joined, and they also raised their voices. That is when the monkeys started ridiculing them, saying that, "What can you do in this big project? You don't have big bodies to lift boulders. So what do you think you are doing? Can we get an explanation?" So for which the squirrels replied that, "We are trying to dry up the ocean." So monkeys were, "Excuse me, what's happening?" So that's when the squirrels explained that they are rushing into the ocean, they are wetting their bodies, they are coming back to the land, and they are rolling in the sand, and with that sand in their bodies they are going towards the bridge, and they are shaking off their bodies on the bridge with the objective that this sand would help to strengthen the bond between the boulders and the stones. And again from that boulder they jump into the ocean, again wet their bodies, come back. So this was a cycle which they explained. So they said they are helping twofold. One is by wetting their bodies, they are trying to dry up the ocean, and coming into the land, taking mud on their bodies and shaking it off on the boulders, they are trying to strengthen the bridge. Now the monkeys thought this was an atrocious plan, and they just continued with their activities. Now there was one person who was witnessing the entire conversation. It was Lord Sri Rama. He was dumbstruck. He felt he had given instructions to the monkeys to go ahead and build the bridge, but he never contracted with the squirrels to do any kind of activity. Yet these squirrels were dedicated. They wanted to display their loyalty to Lord Rama, and they did whatever was possible for them and whatever they felt that they could contribute for this particular activity. So Rama is all compassionate, and seeing this, he lovingly lifted the squirrels and he just patted on their back. Now legend has it that the squirrels in India have stripes on their back just because of this action of Lord Rama. Now this was the little service which the squirrels thought that they can do and they can play their part, however atrocious it may seem. But to Lord Rama, he took it as a token of their love, as a token of their dedication. So this is the comparison, this is the benchmarking which Thirukkolur Penpillai is doing, saying that even those little squirrels, they had that sense of service. Now in the normal human world, service is regarded as the greatest activity. So even those little squirrels had that service mentality, which, oh Swami Ramanuja, I don't have it. If I would have had such a service mentality, I would have definitely stayed in this place of Thirukkolur. I would have done some service for the people, I would have done some service for the Lord. But no, I am just moving out of this place. So I can't even compare myself with those squirrels who did such a great service. So how can I be a great devotee to stay in this divine land of Thirukkolur? So this is her benchmark, this is her comparison to the service which was performed by the squirrels in this particular episode in Ramayana. Now the greatest lesson for us here are twofold. One I already discussed, where with the names of the Lord constantly in our mind and heart, we get that ability to face any challenge, face any struggles, and overcome all those in our day-to-day lives. So that was the point which was explained by Hanuman earlier. The second message for us from this particular episode is, no activity can be small or big so long as it leads to the achievement of the end goal. Everyone has a contribution, has a role play to do, and so long as they are playing their part, we don't have any right to discriminate against them, to ill-treat them or to insult them, or to even feel that, oh, this job is small and it is worthless, because everyone is functioning according to their own capacity and strength, just like the squirrels did. So when you are in a stronger position, ridiculing the people who are weak or who are not up to your strengths, that sends out a wrong example, which was exactly demonstrated by the monkeys in the story. So if we were to start treating people equally, not seeing what particular jobs they are doing, wouldn't the world be a better place to live in, where humans start respecting everything around them, be it the people, be it the animals, be it the things we see in the nature? If this kind of mentality could be developed, we definitely can ensure that this particular place is beautiful for the generations to come. So that's all from this particular Bhakti episode. Stay tuned for the next Bhakti Rahasyam. Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.